Abushani kumo owo channel so ha say GH Politics Avenue. Podcast or friend me kwesi make headlines. And ya jemre na edibi exum woni dim ya horaxe mu mesha wo say yenko eye yensim mu. No way eye breaking news. Eno ane ya jemra edibi exum wo na Ken Ofori Atta. And I me no ka say eye US of A. Aban no etimi agrante eye Ken Ofori Atta eye permanent resident. Ekoye energy sem kese ede amaken Ofori Atta se sisi ade se US aban no describe no as alien no ene omu eye free ho a je se woye permanent residence ewo eye US omanima obetimi anante akoba bia abra interponi bia na immigration officer bia enko ha no kwan bi so se woye alien na se oye illegal immigrant onia akoye ne gisem na ni woni Ghana court issue na yesi ombra na omegina emra no eno no eto atwa ewo kwan bi so ana bestok say ibobo ewura ye insimnim abra abedwafo transe na omu ebo inchemu
of Innocentia.
Moving away from that, and a bit more in terms of stories for you this afternoon, having to do with extradition process and conversations surrounding former Finance Minister Ken Ofori Atta, and a U.S. immigration court has granted former Finance Minister Ken Ofori Atta a lawful permanent residency in the U.S. This follows Mr. Ofori Atta's brush with U.S. immigration laws over the expiration of his tourist visa status. But what does this mean for his legal battles back home? I want to bring in one of our legal affairs correspondents, Sixtus Strong Ulo, is also now we can say a private legal practitioner with respect to his person. Sixtus, thank you very much for joining us in studio.
Thank you.
We've been combing and seeking to get a bit more in terms of an understanding as to what all of this means. You've been getting some answers. What exactly does this mean for Ken Ofori Atta, first off, before we even come into conversations as to what happens with his legal battles in the country?
Okay. So what this means for him, straight away, is that no immigration official will stop him on the streets of the United States and ask him, why are you here illegally? He is no longer an alien. He has the approval of the U.S. government to stay in the United States permanently. Simply put.
Simply put. Now, there's a lot being said on social media in relation to what is happening in country Ghana and the cases up against him, which is resulting in extradition processes. What does that mean, this decision by the U.S. Immigration Court for his cases in the country as well? Okay.
So, in relation to his case in Ghana, we know that the permanency granted him in terms of residency has no bearing whatsoever in the extradition processes that are ongoing. We know that those are two separate legal processes. In the first instance, having to do with the permanent residency, the United States government observed that his visa had expired, and so he was there, if you recall, the descriptive that was given him as an alien. But this rectifies that, and this whole process was dealt with by the immigration courts of the United States. On the other hand, with the extradition processes, this is a country-to-country interaction, engagement, exchange based on existing agreement that if a national of ours is suspected to have committed an offense and takes refuge in your country, based on our common understanding and mutual processes, you return the person back to us so that the person comes to face our legal processes. So that whole process is an engagement between our authorities and the Department of Justice of the United States. So that is very different from the ICE processes, which was dealt with by the immigration court. And so whilst this has only addressed one leg of the problem for Mr. Ofori Atta, the other leg of the problem is there, and the case will go on. The Attorney General's Department of Ghana will still deal with the Department of Justice of the United States of America to see to it that Mr. Ofori Atta is brought back into Ghana. Of course, that is also going to involve some court hearing, because you would have heard the argument that was made by his lawyers over and over, even in the immigration cases, that he was treated, he was being politically witch-hunted back home.
Yeah.
And so that may also be a matter for consideration when it comes to the extradition processes. But it really does not mean that having permanent residency in the United States puts a stop to the extradition processes. No.
Well, his lawyers back home have been issuing a statement as well. Menka Premu, Osei Bunsu, Bruce, Kathleen and partners, they've been issuing a statement, and excerpt of it is going to be on your screens right now as I try and walk you through it. And so this is the release. It's a pretty short one, and so I'll go through it verbatim, and then we can wrap up on this. Ken Ofori Atta's green card I-485 petition has been granted by U.S. Immigration Court. The court had evidence relating to actions taken by Ghana's Office of the Special Prosecutor, including the OSP's earlier decision to declare Mr. Ofori Atta a fugitive from justice at a time when he was reportedly undergoing medical treatment in the United States, and while his lawyers remain in communication with investigators in Ghana. The court finds the criminal charges in Ghana not credible. However, the court's ruling was made within the context of a United States immigration proceedings. The court's decision was focused on whether Mr. Ofori Atta met the legal requirement for adjustment of status. It's signed by Justice Kusimi Nkapremo Esquire as a solicitor for Mr. Ken Ofori Atta. And so we're getting a bit more in terms of details now from his Ghanaian solicitors, who obviously have been paying close attention to what all of these means. But it's very important, the highlighting of the OSP's charges against him and his declaration as a fugitive of justice being regarded by the immigration court as not credible.
Not credible. But you see, the statement went on to make an important point, that the main issue for that determination in that particular matter was whether he had met the requirements for his stay to be extended or to be granted legal residence in the United States. It has no bearing on the actual story of whether or not he's committed a crime, whether he's a fugitive from justice.
Right.
All of that will have no bearing in this particular immigration issue. All of those will then come up forcefully in the extradition process. Right,
Sixtus, thank you very much. That's my colleague Sixtus Strong Ulo, who's joining us in the studio. There's an important mention as well that in all of this immigration arguments before the immigration court, the court has continuously insisted on the presence of extradition processes which the government of Ghana says he has served on the Department of Justice and was awaiting cooperation to have him extradited into the jurisdiction. This immigration case, for which Mr. Ofori Atta has been granted that permanent residency, all throughout there has been an interest by the judge in the extradition process, and we will await what the response from the Attorney General's office will be, but we can bring you some more stories this afternoon as well.
In the meantime, residents of Ngleshie, American Town in the Gasals municipality are raising concerns over heaps of refuse left unattended in the middle of the community for weeks now. A situation they fear may trigger a cholera outbreak. Residents say the indiscriminate dumping of refuse in the community has become a major health hazard. According to them, the heap of waste attracts houseflies and emits an unpleasant smell, exposing residents to various diseases. Speaking to TV3, some residents said houseflies from the refuse dump frequently enter their homes and bedrooms, creating an unhealthy environment for families.
I'm from closer to Kaswa, where the community here is known and called American Farm. Close to our 6 months here, we have been suffering from, we don't know where how it all happened. We were here once, they call upon us, informing us they want to bring market closer to us. So there's a piece of land, they want to fill it, and then, so we were all thinking, okay, we never knew they are rather going to bring us diseases. We never knew this is what they are going to do. And it's closer to the dam. So please, we are calling on the authorities to get closer. They should bypass the assembly because they are very much aware of whatever is happening here, and nobody is paying attention to it. There are diseases all over the place, and it's rainy season. We are suffering. Mosquitoes, flies, anything you can think of. And like we said earlier, if care is not taken, the whole country is going to suffer because whatever is happening here, they all run into the dam, and it will be treated for the nation to drink from it. So please, they should stop it immediately.
You hardly breathe good air in this area. It's even worse in the night. So sometimes I ask myself, even in the day you are struggling, the day that you are conscious, you are struggling finding ways and means to breathe. What happens in the night that you are not conscious? It means everything in the air gets into your respiratory system, and you know the effect of these things. It's so bad. Flies, I tell you, even in your sitting room, your bedroom, you'll find flies. Provided you open the door slightly, they enter. And they settle on food and other things that, later will get into our mouth. Even today, my boy was sent to hospital. And this is just some few weeks when he was also sent to hospital. Do you get it? I used to think that, refuse and AIDS issues, that were happening at places were like stories. But I'm seeing it here, and they are not stories. Do you get it? So the air is polluted, the air is bad. When it talk about health, I mean food, we have these germs, and children are getting sick. Definitely, it has started. It's going to be an epidemic.
Actually, this particular issue of refuse dump in the area, in fact, some of us, when we saw the thing at the first time, we asked ourselves, what is happening? And nobody is there to answer. But looking at what happened recently, just last week inside, after that heavy rain, we have never experienced that in here before.
In Kumasi, for several days now, tricycle waste collectors say they have been forced to spend long hours in queues before they can dispose of waste at the Oti landfill site. The situation, according to the collectors, has been caused by the breakdown of bulldozers used to manage unlevel waste at the landfill, slowing operations and creating significant delays. Frustrated by the challenges, the waste collectors have staged a protest to demand the immediate replacement of repair of the faulty equipment to ease congestion and improve waste disposal operations. Now, they warn that the persistent delays are affecting their daily income and could undermine efforts to keep the city clean if the situation is not addressed urgently. Let's connect now with Ibrahim Abubakar on the story. Ibrahim, what more can you tell us about the waste collection problem right now?
Now, Kemini, when you come to Kumasi and its environs, these tricycle waste collectors, I would say, play a key role in keeping the city clean because they will have to move from home to home, shop to collect all these refuse and bring them at the landfill site. However, what should be a quick disposal process has now become a major challenge, a process that shouldn't go beyond 15-20 minutes. Now the waste collectors will have to spend several hours and even in some cases almost an entire day waiting to access the dumping site. Because like you rightly mentioned, the bulldozers used to compact and level the waste have broken down. Now for them, the long delays mean they are unable to make multiple trips each day, and this leads to reduced earnings and even increased operational costs. And they want this issue fixed so that normal operations will be restored at the landfill, because the fear is even that should this continue, the situation could encourage indiscriminate dumping of refuse along our drainage and also our gutters, and we've started even seeing them.
$5 million, stating that the true amount owed the contractor is only $500,000. Deputy ranking on the committee, Kofi Amankwa Menu, says the 500-bed capacity project is also at an overall completion rate of 98%, crediting the Akufo-Addo government for its massive progress. He contends that $85 million claims are only an attempt to abuse public purse, vowing the minority's readiness to block any such payments. I'm going to take you to Parliament right now, where my colleague Christian Yale is on standby for us this afternoon with a bit more of details, and then we transition to hear from the minority as exactly what they've been saying. But we can hear from the minority to start off with, and then we connect with my colleague Christian Yale.
Honorable Ernest Boja-Jemfi, regarding the Afari Military Hospital project, are not only factually inaccurate, but represent a blatant, calculated attempt to siphon 85 million USD, that is United States dollars, from the public purse. As the deputy ranking member of Parliament's Defense and Interior Committee and a former deputy defense minister, as well as the chairman for the project implementation unit of the Ministry of Defense from 2021 to 2024, I consider it a duty to speak on behalf of the minority caucus in Parliament to set the record straight and expose this grand scheme of deception. The true status of the Afari project. The narrative being peddled that the 500-bed facility is only 60% complete is a complete fabrication designed to justify an outrageous financial demand. Official records from the project implementation unit, of which I was the chair, of the Ministry of Defense confirmed that as of September 2024, the core hospital was 92.5% complete. By January 2025, under the previous administration of the NPP, the overall completion rate stood at an impressive 98%. The breakdown of works completed as of September 2024 speaks for itself. Civil works, core hospital, 97.5%. Architectural works, 87%. Support facilities, staff housing, 77% overall. Roads and landscaping, 80% and 77% respectively. The phantom 85 million USD debt. The deputy minister's assertion that the contractor, Eroja De Invest, EDI, is demanding 85 million United States dollars before returning to site is a manufactured crisis. Let the facts be clear. No records at the Ministry of Finance or the Ministry of Defense support this outrageous claim. The financial facts are as follows. The original contract term of 180 million USD was a loan that has been fully paid. The negotiated additional funding of 19.3 million USD, that is from the government of Ghana, GOG, for delays caused by the NDC's misguided relocations has been fully paid. Out of a subsequent 3 million USD claim negotiated down from over 6.5 million, 2.5 million USD has been paid. The only outstanding amount owed to the contractor is 500,000 United States dollars. To jump from an outstanding balance of 500,000 USD to a sudden demand for 85 million United States dollars is not just mathematically absurd, it is indeed criminal.
We are in some of the team course watching on so I'm not so dim. Brother Senator Badi and the Anubi Romania. Unia, you best sign Asia.